Children are great by their very nature, and we have the privilege and responsibility of raising them. It can be challenging at times. Let's talk about it. Today, I want to talk about when gratitude becomes manipulation. Hi, I'm Cynthia Armstrong. I'm a general and special education teacher. I homeschooled my children for 5 years, and the things I talk about are those things that I've studied, I've researched, I've applied, and I found what works in helping with some of the struggles I was having in my life, in my children's, and in my students'. And one of the things that I've noticed is sometimes I would try something at school and I'd go, wow, that worked really well. I'm going to try that at home. And oftentimes it would work really well at home as well. But not always, because they're very different situations. And then sometimes I would try things at home and go, oh, is that what would benefit this child or this situation at school? And so it goes both ways, the things that I've practiced and I've learned and I've applied. And today, when I first noticed that gratitude becoming manipulation was at school, and it was actually taught us as teachers as a beneficial way to get children to behave or to follow our directions. And so instantly that really truly becomes a manipulation. It's not for the benefit of the child, it's for the benefit of the teacher that we want them to behave and follow directions and be exactly this way, which would be awesome if we just want our children to go work in a factory and not be independent, because that's what schools do. That's the direction they teach, the public education schools. So we were taught as teachers, oh, if Sarah sits crisscross on the carpet, say, thank you, Sarah. Or I love how Sarah is sitting crisscross on the carpet. And we would say this loud because we want, Amy and Bobby to hear and go, oh, I better sit crisscross on the carpet so the teacher gives me that praise too. And it's kind of becomes in that case, when we're doing it to get other kids' attentions and to get them to follow the direction, that becomes manipulation. And one of the side effects of that kind of manipulation is a condition on love. Well, she told that to Sarah, so she must love Sarah more, or she doesn't love me, or, I'm not good enough right now. And so it becomes tricky. And there's not, don't do this, don't say that ever. There's just becoming aware of what we're saying and the intents and purposes behind us saying that. So if Sarah has been struggling to sit crisscross on the carpet when the teacher asks, and I go over and I just quietly tell her, Sarah, thanks for coming and sitting crisscross on the carpet. That really helps me to know that you're ready for whatever group activity, or that I can tell you are ready to learn. And so if we look at those, the I can tell you're ready to learn puts it back on her and is more for her and to help her with her awareness. But if I'm using the I, it's more about me. Like I can see that, like what you did helped me. So in that case, she can be helping me. Or it can become, oh, I need my teacher to see me. So again, a lot of parents want me to say exactly this, never say this. And it's really not about the words. It's about our intents, and it's about having that deeper view as to what will this lead to for my child? How might this affect my child right now, but also, as they become older? Do they become dependent on that, or is this a way to teach and just show that appreciation? And so that was a lot about school, but that can happen too in the home. If we have more than one child, we might say something to one child so that another child can overhear it, which isn't really expressing like that true deep gratitude to the child we were thanking, but a way to manipulate the other child. And the same long view can happen for the home. Does our child become dependent on our external verbal rewarding of them? And so that they don't feel like, oh, I did a good job, or I can feel good about myself, even when mom doesn't tell me thank you, or even when dad doesn't say XYZ, I appreciate whatever. And so really, truly consider the intents and the purposes, that energy that we say things with. And then again, really do your best to take a deep view. And one way that helps to take a deep view is like, how did you feel when people did that to you? Did you feel good? And yeah, well, I felt good, so I'm going to do it to somebody else. But then when I didn't get that, when I lost that as I got older, then I felt, like, oh, I'm missing something. I'm not as good, and I lose some of my self-esteem because I was using it off others. I have a teacher that shares my room this year, and we were looking at, how are we going to manage behaviors in our classroom this year? What are some things we can have in place for that? And she was telling her daughter, who happens to be an adult now, and her daughter was saying, don't use the clip down. That destroyed my self-esteem, because she was a happy child, a laughy, bubbly child. And so her teacher would always make her go put her clip down to the, I'm not listening, or you're struggling to listen, because she had that joy and that bubbliness in her. And it really kind of caused a little bit of that self-harm as a child, that inside, that she wasn't allowed, like, oh, you're not supposed to be that happy. You're not supposed to find humor in anything. You're supposed to, and that was really hard on her. And so when we take the perspective of us as an adult and kind of apply that to like when we were children, to help us kind of see some of the long view, or if we read books or hear other people's stories like this that can help us to take the long view, then it can really help us to know, is my gratitude true gratitude? Am I expressing this with that unconditional love and truly expressing my gratitude? Or am I, manipulating either people around the person I'm talking to, or manipulating, like I'm trying to manipulate this child into doing more for me so that they can get more of that gratitude, which again, in the long view, can lead to dependence on those external rewards, which can cause all kinds of problems. If they're in elementary school and learn this, those transitions to middle school, or middle school to high school, or even as adults, when our spouse is like, I'm used to this, I need this, you've got to give it to me, spouse. You're not giving it to me, spouse, then this relationship isn't working for me. And so it is so vital that we really take a look at our motives and do our best to continually try to see that deep view as to where does it really lead for our children. So remember, children are great by their very natures, and we have that privilege and that responsibility to raise them. Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out, and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.